السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فصارت بين البائع والوكيل والمشترى من العدو ولهما أنه لا تنافي بين البينتين، فيجعل كأن الموجود بيعان، وللشفيع أن يأخذ بأي ما شاء.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue with the masla from yesterday. ولو أقام البينة فالبينة للشافعي عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير بك نستعين يا فتاح يا عليم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرارك. اللهم استعملنا ولا تستبدلنا واجعلنا سامعين مطيعين من أوليائك المخلصين. آمين يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So if both of them have to establish or furnish evidence, and the evidence of the Shafi will be accepted according to Tarfain rahimahullah ta'ala. Imam Yusuf rahimahullah says no, we will accept the evidence of the Mushtari in this instance. Why? Because he is the Mudda'i in reality, as I explained yesterday. Why? Because he is the one that is establishing the greater amount. So he is saying 50,000 and the Shafi is saying 45,000. So he is claiming extra 5,000. So that's his claim. That's a da'wah. So he is a mudda'i in this instance. And the Shafi is munkir. So that's why Imam Yusuf rahmatullah in this instance says that we will accept the evidence of the mushtari. And it gives three examples. فَصَارَ كَبَيِّنَةِ الْبَائِعِ وَالْوَكِيلِ وَالْمُشْتَرِي مِنَ الْعَدُوِ. That it will be like how we accept the evidence of the ba'i, where the seller he has a disagreement with the client, with the customer. Customer is claiming one price and the seller is claiming a different price. So in that case, they both of them establish proof. We will accept what the seller is saying, because he is the mudda'i, because he is the one establishing the greater amount. And same thing with the wakil and the muwakkil. Right? Somebody sends somebody to go buy something for him, and now he paid with his own money, the wakil, and now they're having a dispute over how much the price of the item was. The muwakkil, the one who appointed him to purchase on his behalf, he's claiming the lower price, and the wakil is claiming a higher amount. So we will accept what the wakil is saying, because again, لأن أكثر إثباتا, he's claiming more. والمشتري من العدو. And like how if somebody buys from عدو ومن الحرب, if somebody has to buy from a harbi, a non-Muslim in a country that does not have a pact with the Muslims, if he is having a dispute with regards to the price of a slave, he buys a slave specifically, and is having a dispute with the original owner, then the original owner, the Mawla Qadim, with regards to what the price of the slave is, then we will accept what the Mushtari is claiming, what the price is. أنه لا ولهما, and Tarfain say أنه لا تنافي بينهما. There's no contradiction between what they are saying. And in reality, there's no contradiction between what they are saying. Why? Even though one is claiming 45 and another claiming 50, there's no contradiction. فيجعل كأن الموجود بيعان. So we will say it is as if there were two sales. The person bought the thing, and then the deal was cancelled, and then he bought it for a higher amount, or vice versa. Understand? So two prices were charged. So it's as if he paid one amount, 45,000 first, cancelled the deal, and then decided to repurchase, paying a higher amount, 50,000. So in this way, we can say there is no contradiction between the two, that it's possible the house was sold at either of those two prices, or at both of those prices, in the first sale and in the second sale. Okay? وَلِلشَّفِيعِ أَن يَأْخُذَ بِأَيِّ مَا شَاءَ. So therefore, the Shafi'i has the right to take whichever, or take it for whichever price he wants to pay. Okay. وهذا بخلاف البائع مع المشتري. This is contrary to the masla that you mentioned, Imam Yusuf rahmatullahi, where there is a dispute between the seller and the customer. لأنه لا يتوالى بينهما إلا عقدان إلا بانفساخ الأول. لا يتوالى من لا يجري, because two transactions could not have taken place between the two of them except by the cancellation of the first one. So the Shafi, with regards to the sale between the Mushtari and the Ba'i, is like an outsider. And so between them, there was a fasq of the first transaction. But as far as he's concerned, it's a transaction, two transactions took place as an outsider. Okay? That doesn't apply to a seller and a customer. The seller and the customer, they can only establish a second transaction if the first one has been cancelled. So the first one, in their view, from their view, doesn't exist any longer. So that is why, in the case of the Ba'i and the Mushtari, we will accept what the Ba'i is selling, what the seller, the evidence of the seller, not the Mushtari. وها هنا الفصل لا يظهر في حق الشفيع. Whereas over here, the cancellation of the contract does not become apparent in the view of the Shafi, or with regards to the Shafi, or in the right of the Shafi. You follow?
Yeah.
وهو التخريج لبينة الوكيل لأنه كالبائع والموكل كالمشتري منه. And what you are saying with regards to the wakil and the mushtari, your second masala, wakil. So that is exactly the same as happening with the first one. That's our second jawab. The first jawab is it's possible that two transactions took place. Our second jawab is what you're saying with regards to the wakil and the ba in your second masala that you quoted. So that is a offshoot of the same thing. Understand? So just like how you in the second masala are accepting the evidence of the wakil. Why? Because the wakil is like a seller. When he bought the item on behalf of the muwakkil and now he's giving it to the wakil in exchange for the money which he spent, it is as if he is selling it, reselling it to the muwakkil. So he is the ba'i, he is the seller, and the muwakkil is like the mushtari from him. You follow? So that's why he is the ba'i, like in the first masala. So that is why we're accepting his evidence in that particular masala. Understood?
Yeah.
So that's the second evidence of it. كيف وإنها ممنوعة. Then he's saying thirdly, that how can you say this when that is not the case, when we don't accept this? Now, how can your qiyas be correct? And in the first place, إنها ممنوعة. This is the third jawab. So this is not correct. على ما روي عن محمد رحمة الله عليه, with regards to what has been narrated from Imam Muhammad رحمة الله عليه. And so Imam Muhammad رحمة الله عليه doesn't accept the evidence of the wakil, but he accepts the evidence of the muwakkil. Okay, anyway. وأما المشتري من العدو قلنا ذكر في السير الكبير. As regards the third masla which you mentioned, where the person purchases a slave from a non-Muslim. قلنا ذكر في السير الكبير. It is mentioned in السير الكبير أن البينة بينة المالك, that the evidence is the evidence of the previous master, بينة المالك القديم. And so we don't agree with you in that masla. We don't accept the evidence of the mushtari there. Rather, we accept the evidence of the previous owner, previous master. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got there وأما المشتري, or do you have something else in your kitab?
I got وأما المشتري من العدو.
ما
I got وأما المشتري.
وأما أكرت. كنا إن نمنع كنا إن supposed to be فلنا أن نمنع. So therefore, we have a right to disagree with what you are saying, because that is not a masala. The masala in Siyadul Kabir then is that we will accept the evidence of the previous master, not of the mushtari. So فلنا أن نمنع, so therefore we have a right to disagree. وبعد التسليم, if we were to accept an argument's sake, for argument's sake, if we accept what you are saying, that this is the masala, the evidence is that of the mushtari, نقول لا يصح الثاني هنالك إلا بفسخ الأول, that the second agreement, the second transaction over here cannot be correct except by cancelling the first transaction. أما ها هنا بخلافه, however, this is contrary to that in this instance. ولأن بينة الشفيع ملزمة, and lastly also because the evidence of the shafi is imposing something upon the mushtari. And what is it imposing? Is imposing him to hand over the house to the shafi for a particular amount. وبينة المشتري غير ملزمة, whereas the evidence of the mushtari is not imposing anything on the shafi, because if he wants to, he can take it. If he doesn't want to, he can leave it. He doesn't have to give over the money. Unlike in the case of buying and selling, where you can't cancel the contract. Once it's done, it's done. Now it's just a dispute about the money. Understand? So, but you can't cancel the actual deal. Here in the case of the shafi and the mushtari, he can say, I don't want it. Fine. That's the price, I don't want it. So the evidence of the mushtari is not imposing anything upon him, whereas the evidence of the shafi is imposing upon the mushtari. You follow?
Yeah.
Al-bayyinatu lil-ilzam, that's the whole purpose of evidence, to compel somebody to accept what is being said. The point of evidence is to compel, to convince, to authorize. Right?
Okay.
Right, now we come to the mushtari and the ba'i. It is the mushtari and the shafi. Neither mushtari and the ba'i disagree. There are three possible scenarios. Each one of them have three scenarios, each with two possibilities. Gee.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال وإذا ادعى المشتري ثمنا وادعى البائع أقل منه ولم يقبض الثمن أخذها الشفيع بما قال البائع وكان ذلك حقا عن المشتري.
Right. So the first scenario is that the mushtari is claiming one price. إذا ادعى المشتري ثمنا. Remember, this is another mushtari and the ba'i, not the shafi. The shafi is out of the picture for the moment. If the mushtari is claiming one price and the ba'i, the seller, is claiming another price, أقل منه, less than that. The mushtari is claiming one price and the seller is claiming a price less than that. Now this is with the two possibilities. لم يقبض الثمن. Now either he already took the amount or he didn't take the amount, right? So that is scenario one. The mushtari is claiming a higher price, buyer is claiming a lower price, right? Under scenario number one, two possibilities: either he already took the money or he didn't take the money. Following?
Yeah.
Remember, I think there's three scenarios. So this is scenario 1.1, okay? And when you come to scenario 1.2 after this, you following?
Yeah.
ولم يقبض الثمن, he didn't take the money yet. أخذ الشافي بما قاله البائع. The shafi will be allowed to take the house on the price stipulated by the seller. And وكان ذلك خطا عن المشتري, and that will be considered to have been a discount to the mushtari. So for their sale to be correct. So if the seller is claiming a higher price and the mushtari is claiming a lower price, the mushtari is claiming a higher price and the seller is claiming a lower price, and he has not yet taken the money, then we will say what is happening is he has discounted that amount which they disagreed. So therefore, the benefit of that will be passed on over to the shafi as well. وهذا لأن الأمر إن كان على ما قال البائع. This is because if the matter is how the seller is saying it is, that is for the lesser price, فقد وجبت الشفعة به. So immediately shuf'a becomes established by means of it. Because when he's saying that I sold it for a lesser price, he's actually saying two things with regards to shuf'a. He's acknowledging that he sold the house, and he's acknowledging what the price of the house is. Follow? So with the first acknowledgement that he sold the house, there is Shufa is already established. The price doesn't matter really, as we've been doing from the beginning. Like the sabab of Shufa is what? The dalil i'rab. The person is no longer interested in his property. What is the alamat of that? That he's selling the property. Yes?
Okay.
You remember?
Sure.
So by him acknowledging that he sold the house for a particular price, that acknowledgement automatically uh, establishes حق الشفاء. وإن كان على ما قال المشتري, and if it is how the mushtari is saying, فقد حط البائع بعد ثمن, then definitely the seller must have discounted a part of the price. وهذا الحد يظهر في حق الشفيع على ما نبين إن شاء الله تعالى, and this discount will become apparent, will be in favor of the with regards in the right of the Shafi, as we will soon mention, as we will shortly explain inshallah ta'ala. You follow that?
Yeah.
ولأن التملك على البائع بإيجابه فكان القول قوله, and also the Shafi will have the right to take ownership, tamalluk, to take ownership against or over the seller by his بإيجابه, by his acceptance of the deal. فكان القول قوله, therefore his word will be taken. في مقدار الثمن, with regards to the amount, or with regards to the price of the house, with regards to the amount paid. ما بقيت مطالبته فيأخذه الشفي بقوله. For as long as the buyer is still asking for the money, because he hasn't taken cups. So as long as he's still asking for the money, we will accept what he is saying with regards to the price. So therefore the Shafi will take it based upon his word, or based upon his claim. Understood that?
Okay.
Now scenario 1.2 coming up. That is 1.1, he hadn't taken the amount, right? Now 1.2, well, no, sorry, not 1.2. This is scenario number 2. ولو ادعى البائع أكثر, and if, so scenario number 2, right? So that was 1 and 1.1. This is scenario number 2. If the ba'i was claiming the higher price, opposite now, 1, يتحالفان, both of them will be asked to take an oath, the ba'i and the mushtari. ويترادان, and they will each return, they will have to cancel it. They will have to each take back what they gave. The house will be taken back and the amount will be taken back. But if they both take an oath. وأيهما نكلا ظهر أن ثمن ما يقوله الآخر. If any one of them refuses to take an oath, it will become evident, it will become obvious that the amount is what the other one had said. Okay? فيأخذ الشفيع بذلك. So the Shafi will then take the house on that particular price. Okay, so the seller said 50,000, the buyer said no, 60,000, right? Sorry, no, the seller is saying higher price, 60,000, and the buyer, the mushtari, is saying 50,000. They don't have evidence, so they both take an oath. Because they both take an oath, there's now a deadlock. So because there's a deadlock, there's no other way but to cancel the thing, right? There's no way forward here. So they have to each they have to cancel it and redo it if they want to. If the one refuses, for example, the mushtari refuses to take an oath, then we will realize that what the buyer is saying, the amount that the buyer claims, that is a correct price. So therefore, the Shafi will take it for what the buyer is saying. In our example, 60,000. Okay. وإن حلفا, and if they both take an oath, يفسخ القاضي البيع على ما عرف, then the qadi has no choice but to cancel the deal, as is known. Why? Because there's a deadlock now. We don't know whose word we're going to take. They're both taking an oath. ويؤخذ الشفيع بقول البائع, and in this instance, the Shafi will also take the house for the claim of the buy, for the amount claimed by the buy. لأن فسخ البيع لا يجب بطلان حق الشفيع. Why? Because the cancellation of the deal does not necessitate the invalidity of the haqq of the shafi, of the right of the shafi. Following?
J.
Right, now, so that was if he claimed less or he claimed more. And he had not yet taken the amount. So what if he had taken the amount? وَإِنْ قَبَضَتْ Must we stop here? Or carry on?
Stop now, we can carry on.
You sure? وَإِنْ
J.
كَانَ قَبَضَ الثَّمَنْ أَخَذَ بِمَا قَالَ الْمُشْتَرِي. And if the seller already, the original owner already took the amount of money, أَخَذَ بِمَا قَالَ الْمُشْتَرِي. In this case here, the Shafi will take it for the amount that the Mushtari is claiming. Insha, if he wants to. ولم يلتفت إلى قول البائع ولم يلتفت إلى قول البائع, and no attention will be paid to the claim of the seller. Okay? لأنه لما استوفى الثمن انتهى حكم العقد. Because once he has fully taken the amount, once he has taken the amount in full, then انتهى حكم العقد. Then the حكم of the act, the transaction has come to an end. The transaction has come to an end. Otherwise, he is no longer the owner. He's completely out of the picture, as we did before. The mushtari now is the new owner, and the buyer has become like a stranger. وَخَرَجَ وَهُوَ مِنَ الْبَيْنِ, and the seller has now emerged from this whole scenario. وَصَارَ كَالْأَجْنَبِي, has exited the whole scenario, and he has become like a total stranger, a third party to this whole thing. So what he has to say has no bearing on the case any longer. وَبَقِيَ الْإِخْتِلَافِ بَيْنَ الْمُشْتَرِي وَالشَّفِيعِ, and all that remains now is the difference of opinion or different claim between the mushtari and the shafi. وقد بينا, and we already explained this, meaning in the masala where we started with. Okay?
J.
You following?
J.
Third scenario. So that was the second scenario. The third scenario. The first scenario was what? He claimed he didn't take the thaman. Second scenario, he did take the thaman. Third scenario, we know no. ولو كان نقد الثمن غير ظاهر, and if the payment of the money is not apparent, meaning unknown, غير ظاهر أي غير معلوم. The Shafi don't know. We don't know. Did he take the money? Did he not take the money? فقال البائع بعت الدار بألف, and he says that I sold the house for 1,000, for example. وقبضت الثمن, and he is acknowledging that I took the amount. I've already taken possession of the price. فيأخذ الشافعي بألف, then the Shafi will take it for 1,000. لأنه لما بدأ بالإقرار بالبيع تعلقت الشفعة به. Why? Because when he began his statement with بِعْتُ الدار, understand? When he began his acknowledgement with the sale of the house, immediately the shuf'a became attached to it. فبقولي بعد ذلك قبضت الثمن. So now, when he's after that, he's saying قبضت الثمن, that I already took the money. يريد إسقاط حق الشفيع. The intention is there. We will assume this. The intention is there now to try and waiver the right of the Shafi. فيرد عليه or فيرد عليه. So therefore, this will be rejected. Okay.
J.
But what if he was to say it in this way? قبضت الثمن first هو ألف, then لم يلتفت إلى قولي. If he was to say that I took the amount and it was 1,000, and so 1,000, the amount is mentioned after he says I already took possession of the amount. لم يلتفت إلى قوله. We will not pay attention to what he's saying. لأن بالأول وهو الإقرار بقبض الثمن, because the first part of the statement, which was his acknowledgement of taking the amount, خرج من البين, by that the hukm of the bay has been completed and he is emerged from the scenario, meaning he's no longer a party to this whole case. And because قبضت الثمن is the end of his role in the whole thing. وسقط اعتبار قوله في مقدار الثمن. So therefore, he considering his claim with regards to the amount of money is no longer viable, is no longer necessary, or falls away. Okay?
Okay.
Understood all that?
So basically, you become like an ajnabi after that. Same like
Maaf?
the previous Muslim. You'll become like a ajnabi after that.
Yes, it become like an ajnami after that, correct.
So then the ikhtilaf will we have to sort out between the mushtari and the shafi.
If there is, yeah, if the mushtari is claiming something else, correct.
Sure. Understood.
Because that brings an end to the chapter on ikhtilaf between the mushtari and the mushtari and the shafi, or the ba'i and the mushtari and so forth. That's the end of that particular fasal. The next fasal is on uh, what or where does shufa apply, and, or what will what can be used to pay for the shufa and so forth. Okay, okay. There's a cash sale, there's a credit sale, there's been a discount, and so on and so forth. All that will be discussed in this next fasal. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Okay, any questions? Anything you didn't understand? Alhamdulillah. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته
وعليكم السلام.